Hello, Cynthia. Cynthia getting a soprano. I am going to check my phone first because my roommate might be on her way. And I still have to go and get that stuff from Rona, which is like our version of Home Depot. I think it's still Canadian owned. Who knows? Who knows? Everything gets bought out in Canada because Canadian companies don't have the capital that American and NASDAQ and International Exchange and all of those companies have. Okay, Rona, Edmonton, South, Garden Trail. Let's see what time it is. 9 o'clock. I can do that at 9 o'clock. So we are going to. This is my piano up here so that I can look straight forward and I can learn the sounds of like literally just the singing part of Juliet's Waltz. And I remember someone at this stupid fucking thing in Banff, which sucked because I didn't prep the music properly and I didn't have all the pages photocopied properly. And the company's got really mad at me, which makes sense. But she was also a bitch, so it doesn't make sense because God knows I have a brain injury, and I am trying. But I remember this woman telling me that, like, I think it was 32-ish. Maybe it wasn't that long ago. Maybe 35. Like, you shouldn't be worried about singing. And it's like, well, you shouldn't be worried about fucking singing at all because you're 60 and you can't fucking sing. You sound like a wobble. But she was not very nice. And I was kind of like, you know what? The thing is that here, there isn't the possibility of being a professional singer and basing yourself here. And I can learn this, even though I'm 40 and I can sing it. Maybe they'll never hire me because they hire young artists to give them experience at roles. But I mean, Diana is, I think, at least 10 years older than me. I'm assuming she's like 10 years older than me because she had a kid when she was in 2008 when she was playing at the Met. They had her kid on TV, maybe 2012-ish. So I would assume that she's probably 10 years older than me. Anyway, she still sings Juliet. So they're just being ageist and sucky, which is not surprising for Edmonton. What? Okay. So I thought it was really funny when Angela Mead was on the audition that the only fat woman in the room, like grotesquely obese woman in the room, was like, she's too fat. I was like, she's saying well on the Scala. Because, like, when people sing with their fucking nonsense accents and decimate the Italian language, I'm just like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, work on your accent, work on basic language skills. Because you're debuting at one of the most important opera houses in the world. Um, but like she sang it well. But I just thought it was funny that the only fat woman in that room, like grotesquely obese woman, because the pianist has become grotesquely obese. And a few of them have retired now, retired or been kicked out. But I just thought it was hilarious because I was like, you're just judging her because you can't sing, first of all, and the industry is more about um, being stupid pretty, dumb pretty, as I call it, like dumb is in mute, um, pretty dumb, deaf and dumb, than actually being able to perform. Because on the Scala, if you sing well, they dress you properly. At the Met, they don't really fix the costumes. You have to fit into other people's costumes, and while there's a costume fitting, it's not it's not the same quality. And I mean, I do understand like the work ethic in Italy. It's like I'll fucking do it when it gets done. Um, and like the like really undermining of the IASTE union and all the different props people and all of like the shitty financial behavior that Guild puts on. But like, I just thought it was funny. And you can call me a bitch, I'm fine with it. But like, she can sing. And there are very few people that I'm really impressed with. Like, really impressed with. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Always looking for the new thing. I am the new thing that will sleep my way up with gay men to become an opera singer for 15 seconds of fame. 15 seconds of fame was the quotes. That's what Heather said, because she's a bitch. And I think maybe I should warm up, but I don't know really how to do that because I've literally never been taught that. And I have no idea. And I think that people will teach me things and they just yell at me that I don't know them. And that's not helpful. Many. It is so different when I'm standing up and when I'm just being a bitch because I want to be taught, but unless you learn quicker than quick and don't expect to actually be taught anything, paying a teacher is usually pretty fucking useless. I wish it wasn't. I had a woman today who's so I was watching a thing on YouTube, I think. Maybe yeah, I think it was on YouTube. There's this kid who taught herself to speak. Her name was Isla and uh, not just to speak, but to read. And she could spell, and she was two. And she was like a big kid, but she was 2 years old. And she was spelling things that were like a lot of words and a lot of letters. And one of the women that was making a comment was like, I'm not impressed by my smart kids. I'm not impressed by my gifted kids. They don't put any effort in. The thing is if you tell me to put more effort when I'm already able to do something, I literally just shut down because you're not fucking helping. You're telling me to do something that either I don't know what the fuck you're saying or I already have a way of doing it that isn't your way, but it's good. It's good. And when people can't, like, I do find it more with people that have never really achieved, that they will correct behavior that is actually positive for that person and not look and see if that positive, like, that behavior is advantageous to that person. Um, yeah, I just thought it was really funny because my teachers would always tell me not to talk, always tell me to sit down in class. But like, because I had vaginal pain since I was a kid because of being raped, I literally had to stand up. I also enjoyed walking around the room because I fucking hate sitting down because of pain. Um, it's not ADHD. It's literal fucking genital pain. And of course, in the 80s, you couldn't explain that to a teacher because they wouldn't have fucking listened anyway. Um, I still do have some vaginal pain because of the early sexual abuse, like the 3 to 6 sexual abuse, but also the 15-year-old, 16-year-old rape. Um, yeah, and that's not fair. Um, and like sitting down and like doing fuck all nothing for hours and hours and hours, like memorizing shit. Why the fuck would I need to memorize shit? Like sometimes I like memorizing if it's useful. Like music is useful. Um, Trading symbols useful. Reasons why you would use different spreads in calls and puts and options and futures and all that kind of shit. Useful. Makes me money. But just like, yeah, well, you should work harder. You would have better marks. I have fine marks. I have like 80%. Why do I need better marks? What's the point of that? And also, like, working really hard doesn't actually make you better. Like, I work extremely hard. I put a lot of time and put a lot of effort into things. But, like, in terms of if you're already gifted at something, if you overwork, you actually become more confused, I find. Because there are people who, like, are extremely gifted and they don't start auditioning and then they miss their chance and their teachers just decimate them because again a lot of music teachers do it because they can't survive as musicians and they like to be mean. They like to be mean just because they went to a famous school and that's what they were taught in the 80s, 90s ish. I mean, earlier than that, it was way worse. But yeah, like you should just not act like shitty people. Let's see if we can do the next. I don't like this version. I think I'm going to use the MSLP version. I'm going to buy and I'm going to support Mr. Rachmaninoff for the next 20 years. It's like $500 in the MSLP because I like downloading music. Okay. I don't know. It says it's going to shut off soon. Fuck. I hate that. God damn it. Maybe it won't. I was told never to learn Arians. I was still stuck in like not learning them because fucking Heather was like learn art songs and I was like, okay, but that's fine, but it actually is kind of different when you're singing art songs. It's a different kind of sound. I mean, I don't know what she sings like, but anyway, she's not nice. She really was mean, like to Tasha and to me. I hope that I'll meet some of the other opera singers who've moved on, like in a healthy way, not just going back to the U of A and like pretending to be dramatic colorateurs when they're absolutely lyric colorateurs. It doesn't make any sense. Um, yeah, because I mean, she still sounds like a lyric coloratura, but she's singing dramatic rap. That's not healthy for your voice. It's going to decimate you. It's going to make you give. It's going to give you a wobble, like Nishrebko has. And Nishrebko is, oh my god. So when I went to my opera degree at Rose Bruford, which was a bad school, it was a terrible program in Kent. I had to analyze a lot of scores and I didn't really understand that. And they wouldn't like have common sense about music because they were intellectual about music, not musicians. Like they could play a little bit, but like having feeling or dynamics or beauty in it, they didn't understand that part of it. Um, they were all about Intrepco. Holy fucking hell. And when I was like, whatever the fuck, right? And they hated Puccini. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, you can hate a great composer. That doesn't give any credence to what you're teaching me. And they weren't really teaching very well. Because in Britain, if you don't teach yourself, you don't get the degree, which is really infuriating sometimes because, um, yeah, because they mark much harder, but they also don't teach. Uh, and the program was terribly organized. But they were so mad that I was like, yeah, I mean, Notrepko's famous, but that doesn't mean she's good. Like, good and famous don't have anything to do with each other anymore. Yeah, hate that woman. hate that woman. I've gotten so scolded on the opera sites. I mean, the opera singers in New York get it because she's not a nice person either. But like, and she wobbles and she's outfoxed herself where she's putting in music into her voice that she can't physically sing. It's not what her voice was meant to do. Um, yeah. But I remember them yelling because, like, I was like, why in the hell would I go to the Royal Opera House to watch Netrebko in a lead role? Why the fuck would I do that in person? I saw her in Calgary. It wasn't impressive. I saw her with her husband. She was just screaming for no reason. And that's not elegant. That's not beautiful. That's not what the roles entail. I mean, the roles entail a bigger voice. And when you are a bigger woman who looks like you swallowed a soprano, but it's because you're not a nice person. You don't take care of yourself, but you don't actually have the voice of that woman of that size. That doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, no, people were so offended that I said this whole this soprano thing, but it's true. Like, if you don't have the voice, why are you singing roles that you can't sing? It's like me fucking being Turandot or Tosca. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe one day it might make sense if my voice grows a fuckload, but I'm doubting that highly. And taking on title roles because you don't get paid in the smaller roles doesn't make sense for the art. It doesn't make sense for being a good musician and making good decisions about music. I get that most people don't have full-time jobs, and I get that most people don't have jobs that pay well in classical music. Um, I mean, some of the orchestras pay okay, but like, it's not very much money really, especially when you're traveling all the time. But taking roles on just so you can sing, that you actually can't sing them, but you're singing them, I would rather not do that. I mean, I guess it's different because I'm trying to make sure that I have a career that pays me well enough so that I can sing what I want. Um, yeah, I don't know. Not good. I can't play anymore because that fucking book is annoying me and this is going to shut off. So, we will do 15 minutes. We will assign it. We will upload all those other videos. And thank you very much for watching. This is Cynthia Sings Classical. Cynthia getting a soprano. I actually feel really confident about the sounds that I'm making. And getting Heather out of my head, I mean, it was like 2010, 11 that I stopped communicating with her. I actually got kicked out of the studio because I was working with a man from Florence whose son had to come here to Stollery to get some health care because the healthcare system in Italy is not superb. Stollery is a good hospital. It is in the U of A, but it is run by not shitheads. Um, and it's funded by, or at least it was built by a family that I used to paint for. Um, and yeah, like she fired me from the studio that was so important and so posh. And I mean, I just owed her money, right? Because I'm not going to pay you if you're not actually doing what you say you're supposed to do. Like, if you can't teach, I'm just going to not deal with you because you don't make any sense. I can't just follow directions when there are no directions. And when the voice doesn't sound good, I can't copy you either because it just doesn't sound any better than anything. Um, but she was all about me not learning theory from Clackowicz, which is fine. Like, you don't like him, he has a PhD, you don't. You worked with famous people but never got anywhere because you're a bitch. That's your fault. Um, but like trying to kick me out of a studio for learning Italian, well, that's not what you need to do. I'll tell you what you need to do. Okay, but you literally are teaching me nothing and I'm spending like $60 an hour on nothing. That's some fucked up shit. I'm not here for that. So I'll just teach myself, and I don't know. I don't know how I'll teach myself, but maybe I'll find a non-shitty teacher. That'd be really nice. Cynthia getting a soprano. Cynthia sings classical. Have a wonderful day. I have to go and get some stuff for that bed. Goodbye.